This is the Wally Show podcast with Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. You can always find us at wayfm.com/Wally or stream us live every weekday morning through the WayFM app.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where Wally teaches and where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. This podcast is also brought to you by United Faith Mortgage. Let their direct lender advantage save you time and money.
Uplifting WayFM.
News can be a little heavy, so we like to do news-ish. Here's Betty.
There's a good chance that as a kid, you heard the story of Hansel and Gretel. Two children abandoned in the woods, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs to find their way back home. And while that's a made-up fairy tale, it actually came to life for police in Georgia. So locals kept reporting of 9 bandits who were terrorizing the people by burglarizing their homes and their cars. The thieves would take off with what they stole and stash it all out in the woods until things would calm down and then they could sell it. But one of the 9 burglars, while rifling through someone's car one night, found a whole bag of miniature Milky Way bars.
Oh, those are so good, too. And you can't just eat one.
Well, I guess he learned that, yeah. And while him and his crew were making their nightly trek through the woods to stash what they had taken that night, that one robber was eating Milky Ways along the way and throwing the wrappers down as he ate. But he didn't realize that he was actually creating a trail for the police to follow. And as they did, it led straight to the perpetrator's home.
Funny. I'd love to hear the conversation that happened between the person, like in the officer, like, okay, what was stolen? I lost some clothes. I lost a backpack. I had, some breath mints, a bag of candy. I did have a bag of candy. Okay, that's interesting.
But you know what? Those are the details that the police need to know because it did ultimately lead to these 9 men being arrested.
That is so great for so many reasons. That's how I would get caught too.
Oh, for sure. That's what I was thinking. I was like, if you had been a part of that crew, you would have been the one that they were like, Wally, dang it.
Here's the deal, though. They would not have actually caught me because of this. Because I would have run out far before I got to my house. I would have been done with all the wrappers in the first, 50 feet.
Good point.
So I would have gotten away. Another perfect crime. Uplifting WayFM. This is the Wally Show. I don't know if you've ever had to be uber quiet in your own home, but that happened for me the other day because my wife is in a new club. She's doing a book club, but it's online.
Cool.
And so, a friend of hers who used to live here moved and started it. And so they all get together online virtually and they go over the book.
It's kind of like a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, exactly. I've never been part of a book club before because I'm not an avid reader or a reader. And so I had to go to the other room and watch my TV quietly so as not to disturb them in book club.
Really?
Yeah.
How long does it last for? Like an hour?
Yeah, about an hour or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you last that long being quiet?
Barely.
But y'all just talk about, well, not y'all,
Yeah, thanks.
not you at all, but Marty and her friends just talk about the chapter that they read for that week.
The whole book. They read the whole book, and then they do it once a month, and so then they
geez.
discuss all the ins and outs of it. It's almost like a homework assignment. You got to take notes. I think it's more social, but she loved it. She had never done it before.
Yeah.
And so she absolutely loved it. And it got me to think about, what other clubs would you start as an adult? I'm not a reader, so I'm never going to join a book club. Not even a comic book club. Maybe a coloring book club.
That'd be fun.
See, Betty Rock would do that. Betty Rock loves coloring books. She loves puzzles. A puzzle club.
A puzzle club. Yes, I love that idea. It would be.
I want to start an adult tree climbing club. For other people like myself that love to climb trees, but you've been told, well, that's what kids do. No, I want to do it as an adult.
So I guess in an adult tree club, you would all come together at a certain specific place and decide which tree you're going to climb. And you all, as grown men or women, would all climb together.
No, just men. It's a boys' club.
Oh, that's rude.
It's very exclusive.
What would you do with injuries? Because let's be honest, that will happen.
I've thought of this. I knew you would ask. and so I want to partner with another club, the Adult Trampoline Club. And so they would show up, and they would put their trampolines around the base of the tree. And
Smart.
so should something go wrong in Adult Tree Climbing Club, we have Adult Trampoline Club to save us.
You thought it all the way through.
Thank you. See, that's the kind of levels I'm working on, and I'd love to hear yours. As absurd as it may be, like an adult tree climbing club, what adult club would you go, you know what, we need this. I'd like to start this. 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. And again, it can be absurd. 855-33-WAY-FM. I'd love to hear yours now. And so, Jody, we're curious, if you could start any kind of a club for adults, what would it be?
Well, I'm actually part of a club. It's a craft club.
Oh.
And I've been part of it for about 5 years now.
Now, how do you decide what craft you're going to do? How does everyone come together?
We just bring our own little, if it's a portable craft, we bring it like crochet or knit or...
But I could see where crafting with someone is a lot more enjoyable than being on your own.
It is. And I've learned a lot of different stitches, lots of new stitches.
My mom would love that, like, because she's so crafty. She had a craft business, still does, actually.
Well, tell her to look on Facebook and see if she can find one, because that's how I found mine.
She does sit and sews, where ladies get together and they sit and then sew. They didn't put a ton of time into the name, but it's very accurate. But then it's basically social. They talk, and they will share tips and tricks inside of sewing, and so I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I would just have one slight twist to it. It'd be like a craft macaroni and cheese club, and so then we all show up and we make different types of craft macaroni and cheese.
Oh, I see.
That's
a
a good
great
one.
idea.
I like that.
Jerry, as an adult, what is a club that you would like to see started?
I would like to start a senior citizen football league, because I played years ago semi-pro, and I'm 66 and not really into running or tackling, but it would be more of a walking type. I think it would be a fun activity for senior citizens.
I think you have a good idea here, Jerry, and if I'm an orthopedic surgeon, I sponsor your entire league.
And can you imagine, too, a senior citizens cheerleading squad, okay? So they're there to cheer you on during your football games. How cute would that be?
2, 4, 6. What comes after that?
Aww.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and recently we had author extraordinaire Lysa TerKeurst on the show, and Betty came up with an idea that I love. We're going to do this more often with other people, called Teachable Moment.
So Teachable Moment is where people like Lysa TerKeurst come in, and we ask them to share with us an unusual talent that they have. Teach us how to do it. And she did great. She knew how to cut a deck of cards with just one hand. It was amazing. She tried to teach us. Some of us failed. Some of us won.
Pull it under. Pull it.
No, for the love, I just need bigger hands. No one touch me.
Okay.
So good. Look at that. It's like teaching a monkey to use tools. You did it. You're a miracle worker.
Now, could he do it again?
No. Betty Rock, I think you eventually got it, right?
I did, but it's something about the placement in your index finger, because it's like she said, your pinky is useless.
Right.
I'm concentrating too much on my fingers. What I have to do is just let the spirit lead. Let it go.
Thinking too hard. You had thinking face. We should have isolated that picture. Betty Rock has this thing called thinking face, where she concentrates so hard her tongue comes out of the side of her mouth and it turns like sideways. She bites it.
Okay.
I love thinking face.
Okay. Well,
I see it with math. I see it with spelling,
grammar,
just pondering, sometimes eating.
If you would like to see the video, we've got it up for you. Just text the word card to 91979. We'll send you the link. That's card to 91979.
But I caution you, have a deck of cards ready to go when you see this video, because you will want to try it, because you're like, oh my goodness, I can do this. A little harder than it looks, but I guarantee you'll try it.
Call coffee shops, poolside, back porch, picnic table at the park, at your kids' soccer practice. Just about anywhere can be your classroom when you decide to go back to school online at Colorado Christian University.
I know I got my degree online, and I actually did a homework at a campsite. I was sitting around a campfire writing a paper. That is where I did some of my work that weekend. So life doesn't have to stop just because you go back to school to better yourself. You can work towards this future and this goal that you want to accomplish, and it doesn't have to totally consume you or derail your normal life with friends, your family, or what have you.
And you can earn accredited degrees from Colorado Christian without ever setting foot on campus.
So there really shouldn't be an excuse to not going back to school. If it's something you really want to do, you can do it. And all you have to do is go to ccu.edu/Wally to learn more. And the other really important thing is that Colorado Christian is committed to cultivating the mind without compromising the heart. So check it out, ccu.edu/Wally.
Uplifting Way FM.
News can be a little heavy, so we like to do news-ish. Here's Wally-ish.
Now that Halloween is behind us like a day, my wife informed me that she wants to do Christmas early this year, like next week early. I'm like, oh,
really?
That's super early for our family. But we're going to be in Florida this year because my daughter Haley has to work and can't travel home. And I think she wants to get the most bang for her buck with the holiday decorations that she loves so much. And it makes her feel good. So I'm like, oh, okay. Not even Christmas specials, though, are coming out this early. It's kind of like, I always wait until Thanksgiving to do our tree and stuff.
Yeah, I recently, though, went to a store just yesterday, and given it was Halloween Day, they already had their Christmas stuff out. Christmas music was playing. So Thanksgiving is just an afterthought.
I know. I do hate that. Well, there are some Christmas movies that are coming out, like, this one here, The Santa Clauses. You remember the Tim Allen series, The Santa Claus?
Those were the best.
That. Yeah, I love that franchise. Apparently, they're doing a limited series in which Tim Allen returns as Santa Scott Calvin for a 2-episode premiere streaming on November 16th. So I'm like, I'm all about that.
Yeah, I think Tim Allen is like my Santa growing up.
Absolutely. He's great. And then there's a sequel to A Christmas Story, you know, the one with Ralphie Parker.
Fragile. It must be Italian. Ho, ho, ho.
Now, Rock, were you a fan of A Christmas Story?
I watch it every year.
And I can't stand it.
It's so good.
It's so boring.
No,
Yeah.
what? No, we quote it every year, me and my dad.
Yeah.
My dad even has the leg lamp.
I know he does. That's a total Danny Ray move for sure. I'm going to classy up this house there, Robin. We're getting a leg lamp.
Gonna put it right in front of the window.
So good. So good. But yeah, so that's, I guess it's coming out with Ralphie as an adult now.
That can't be good.
Yeah.
Lightning doesn't strike twice. You cannot make something better than it already is.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea.
That's a tough one. I'm curious how that goes. Oh, speaking of like making something better, remember the movie Enchanted with Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey? Mm-hmm. They're doing, Disney Plus is doing a reboot of that called Disenchanted, and it's like 15 years after they got married, and so it's like life with like a kid, and Idina Menzel's back in it, so everybody's back in it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I like that. My wife will be into that. My wife and my daughter, they quote Enchanted. Like, they love that movie. They both want to be Disney princesses when they grow up, so. Uplifting Way FM. This here is The Wally Show, and we are big fans of Matt Powell and his new music, but you might know him from the, back in the day with Third Day.
Give me a revelation, show me what to do.
And he's still making great music today with new creation.
You brought me blessings out of a tragedy. You turned my old song into a symphony.
So, Gavin, you were on his Instagram, and you saw him talking about something like, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, he was talking about advice that he heard when he was younger and becoming an artist, and advice that he actually gives out to a lot of people because he's been doing this for a long while now, and advice that he gives to those people about how they handle their careers in the music industry.
Really enjoy where you are. So if you're playing in front of 50 people, enjoy that. Don't go, man, when I'm playing in front of 5,000 people, that's when it'll be good. Because if you're not enjoying where you are, you're not going to enjoy where the big time or whatever.
Oh, that's really good advice.
Yeah.
And I suffer from this just in regular life, enjoying the moment, because I'm always looking to the next thing and trying to move forward and stuff. And so, I missed a lot of great moments in my career that I should have enjoyed that, but I didn't because I was too busy focusing on the next thing. So.
Yeah, focusing on the present instead of thinking on the future.
Yeah, that's really good advice. So let's do this. Let's take this and we'll hone it down a little bit. We'll do 5-word advice to younger you. He did it for younger artists, but this is 5-word advice to younger you. What would you say? You only have 5 words to do it in to make a sentence. What would you say to yourself? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take yours right now. What is that 5-word advice you'd give to younger Katie?
Spend more time with God. I would say that I have a pretty strong foundation in God. However, if I would have leaned on God more when I was younger, I would have made better choices.
I think a lot of us could have made better choices, but it's something, and I hate to say it, but we learn how much we need God through difficulty. I wish that we learned that lesson through, the simple things.
Yeah,
in
but
life.
we don't,
No.
So you're not alone. We learn lessons the hard way, but you're absolutely right. Later on in life, you have a totally different perspective than you did when you were younger, and you got to make some of those mistakes, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely made me a better person.
But better late than never, right? I mean, you still sound young.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Oh, yeah, you're a baby.
Yeah, come on. Look, if Betty Rock thinks you're young, you're young. What is the advice, if you only had 5 words, that you, Jackie, would give to younger Jackie?
Take a chance on yourself.
Oh, I do like that, because sometimes fear cripples us and we don't believe in ourselves, and it can keep us from accomplishing things. So how did this play out in your life?
Okay, so as a younger self, I wished I would have done that, and I would have become a airplane mechanic for the Air Force.
What did you end up doing, Jackie?
So I am working as a disaster construction analyst for the Small Business Administration.
Okay, so now do you have kids?
Yes, I do. I have 3.
Okay, well, here's the big question. So did you learn from this where maybe it wasn't your path, but did you instill that in your 3 kids to make sure that they did grow up and take a chance on themselves?
Yes. My children all have become very successful in their areas, and they've listened to their heart and to God.
Well, you know what? It might not have been the path that you originally chose, but I got to say you're successful. If your kids turned out the way they did, that's not an accident. That's because you invested in them, and that's some of the best success we can have.
Thank you, and I appreciate listening to you all.
Well, you were too sweet. Hey, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
And now for some good news.
Uplifting Way FM. This here's the Wally Show. A little good news, giddy up. A roundup of good news stories designed to make you feel better, because the regular news is a bit of a bummer. Good news, giddy up, Lady Rock. Go.
Well, if you're a huge fan of wildlife, this is the story for you. So there is a photographer, a wildlife photographer in Australia, and he got a shot of a southern right whale swimming alongside a baby humpback. And you might be thinking, well, big deal, they're 2 whales.
Yeah.
Yes, but the 2 species don't usually cross paths or interact. So experts are thinking that this little baby whale was orphaned.
Oh.
And that the adult whale adopted it.
So beautiful. So beautiful. It's touching.
Nature.
It's like
Yeah.
I can hear that Michael Jackson song from Free Willy,
Yeah.
the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the...
What was it? I don't remember it. I remember Ben about the rat.
Ben about the
That was a
rat?
Michael Jackson song.
Oh, I have to look it up. It's so good.
You will have to look that up for us. And I'm glad this is good news, because, if it was regular news, it would be like, whale abducts whale, Gavin, good news, giddy up, go.
They're firefighters in Washington State. They saved a cat named David Hasselfluff. Saved him from a house fire, and ironically, it happened on National Cat Day.
That's the only reason I like that story, is because the cat named David Hasselfluff instead of Hasselhoff.
cute.
That's good. And then finally, there's a 9-year-old boy named Blake, and he has spina bifida, so he has to use a wheelchair. And McDonald's did something really cool for him for Halloween, because he had dressed up as McDonald's French fries, which is awesome. It's a great costume, so it's around his chair and everything. So his local McDonald's decided to surprise him with free French fries for a year.
That's Well done.
Yes.
Dang, had I known that they were giving that out, I would have dressed up.
Well,
as
they
French fries.
weren't. He's kind of a really special kid. And so, yeah, I don't think anyone that walked in with a fry costume was getting that. And that's going to do it for your good news. Giddy up.
Uplifting Way FM.
Here's what's going on today.
All right, Gavin, what you got?
I don't think there's a single person in this room that can turn down free food.
No.
I mean, if it doesn't look good or if it doesn't smell good, yeah. But
She's going to still taste it.
In fairness, yes. I think we have become a little bit spoiled because we had some coworkers ask us to go out for lunch yesterday. We were busy.
Yeah.
But they were talking about like free coupons. And they're like, oh, we're going to walk there. And I heard Betty like, well, just bring it to me.
Yeah, I'm not walking for my food.
But there is a select amount of people who may have the option of getting a free Subway footlong. Also, by the way, do you guys remember the $5 footlong days?
Yeah, those days are long gone. So were the $2 gas a gallon days.
I miss it so much.
I know, yeah.
So this upcoming Thursday is National Sandwich Day, apparently, and Subway is doing a promotion where anyone flying and sitting in a middle seat of their plane on either this Thursday or Friday can take a selfie of themselves, quote-unquote, sandwiched in between two people and upload it on subwaysandwichseat.com.
Okay.
And then they're going to choose 10,000 winners, and they're going to email them a $12 gift card that they'll be able to use for their
one sub.
One sandwich.
I know, it's crazy. It's almost like a $90 value now. Like, it's crazy how expensive Subway's gotten.
And honestly, too, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, sitting in a middle seat with two complete strangers, it's not worth it.
I will say I am flying on Friday this week. I'm
just
not,
get in the middle seat for a minute. Take the picture.
I shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They know that's going to happen.
I think it might be worth it, especially if I'm there a little early.
You would be the only person in the history of aviation that has had that's like got an aisle seat and is like, hey, ma'am, I'm sorry. This is going to be weird. Can I switch for your middle seat? Like, no one has ever done that before.
No one. Ever.
But it's worth it, man. At the end of the day, you get a free footlong sub out of it.
Well, they're only choosing 10,000 people. My luck would be I would go through that whole process, 2-hour flight, just like scrunched between two big dudes, and then I wouldn't win.
But how many people are going to do it? I think your odds are good. I think you should do this. I think you should do this.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it.
No, absolutely not. But I think Gavin should do it. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Our words have meaning and connotation, and I love hearing the stories of how a word or a phrase came into being. And that's the case with go the extra mile. We always say, go the extra mile, do that. That actually comes from biblical times, and it was Jesus saying to go the extra mile. There was a rule that if a Roman soldier was carrying all of his gear, he could go up to any Jewish person and go, carry my gear, and they had to carry his gear for a mile. Mm-hmm. And so they were an oppressed people, and Jesus coming to them was saying, okay, that's the rule here, and you could do that, and you're following the law, even if it's not fair. But why don't you blow their minds and go the extra mile? He was like, if they ask you to do one, do two, because you will set yourself apart that way, and that you're willing to go the extra mile. It says a lot about you, your character, and your faith.
Yeah, and exactly like you're saying, because I don't think in our human capability we're able to do that. I know that if I have an enemy that's asking me to do something without me even saying I want to, I'm going to have a hard time with that, and especially going one step further.
Yep.
And that only takes the power of the Holy Spirit in us, because I would want to backslap them.
Oh, absolutely. But it's interesting how that saying has now become pervasive in our culture, and it's just, hey, go the extra mile, put the extra work in, get it done. So much so that there's even an extra mile day, like a national day. And so we started thinking about this, and we were like, well, how has somebody gone the extra mile for you? Because it's impressive when people do that, and it matters, and it means something to you. We had recently Walker Hayes, he's a country star, and he has this song called Craig.
Yeah, I know. It sounds cool, right? Not your typical kid from Sunday school, right? I still ain't figured out church yet. But Craig,
and it's such a cool story because Craig went the extra mile for Walker when Walker wasn't even a believer and was struggling and was an alcoholic, and he gave him a car so he could drive his family around, and that's going the extra mile, and he poured into his life, and it comes full circle. Walker gets saved, and it's a great story. If you want to see it all, please just text the word Walker to 91979, and we'll send you a link to it because it's a really great interview. It's a great song, but that's an example of the difference you can make or the power of going the extra mile for somebody, the difference it can change a life, you know?
Yeah, because your actions speak louder than your words, for sure.
Absolutely. So I'd love to hear your story now. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. How did someone go the extra mile for you, and what did it mean? 855-33-WAY-FM. Has anyone ever gone the extra mile for you, and what did that mean?
So when I first joined the company Compassion International, I was moving, and I just told my team that I was moving, and they just showed up at my house and helped me move from a third-story building. So that was just so special to me.
Oh, I get that. Betty Rock moved from a third-story building one time with a fold-away couch bed that weighed about 7 million pounds.
Yes, but here's the difference. Bria, I don't think you had to beg and plead with your coworkers to help you.
Yeah, it's because Bria's a better person than you.
With Wally, I had to beg and plead, and then he hurts himself in the first 5 minutes, so then he can't even help with anything. And yet he still, to this day, after years and years, still gets on to me about it.
I'm scarred. Priya has better friends than both of us, apparently. I got to tell you, Priya, we are big fans of Compassion International. We both have sponsored children. I've sponsored kids for the last 10 years,
cool.
you know, and love that.
Wow, so cool. Thank you very much for that.
No, thank you for what you're doing on behalf of these kids and helping them get them out of poverty and giving them Jesus the whole way. Like, we just got letters from Ilderson in Haiti and Maria in Honduras the other day, and it's always really cool when you get letters from the kids, you know, and they're sharing their life with you, and you're sharing yours with them, and you're kind of encouraging them because they have some pretty hard lives. And so I'm thrilled that we are still partnering with Compassion, and you could investigate it too and check it out and see if it's right for you and your family as well.
Yeah, it's easy to do. Just go to wayfm.com, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see a banner for Compassion International. Click on that, and it'll give you all the details you need.
Random acts of audio.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and today's random act of audio comes to us courtesy of a guy on TikTok. He has this thing that he does, and he put together a compilation of reasons that he has to apologize to his wife.
I'm sure they're legitimate.
Reason number 25 or whatever, and they're really funny because his wife sounds like a handful, honestly.
Wait, I'll have to hear the audio first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hold your judgment, okay? So here we go.
Things I've apologized to my wife for. Went upstairs for the night without announcing it. I applied the brakes in order to save our lives. I underestimated the trauma that the change in momentum would create for her. When I sprained my ankle, I had a walking boot and I was limping too loudly up the stairs. Last night when I was cutting my steak, I let my knife touch the plate for a fraction of a second. I momentarily faced her, breathing my hot breath in her face. As I've covered separately, I should be facing the wall the entire night, despite the chronic shoulder pain it caused.
Yeah, okay. Do you see it now, Rock?
Honestly, it sounds bad when he puts it like that, but I bet he's done it countless times and she's held her tongue.
No.
And probably said it in a nice way, and then he keeps doing what he does wrong.
Nope. Reasons I've apologized to my wife, Wally version, number 86, for putting extra salt on my corn in my bowl, and I should have known that she would want yet another bite from my bowl, despite her saying I'm fine when I asked her if she wanted another bite from my bowl. Reason I've had to apologize to my wife, number 33, taking her to a barbecue restaurant with smoke inside the building and not inhaling all the secondhand smoke around her myself to keep her eyes from itching. So there you go. I feel everything that guy just said.
I'll never forget taking my first Compassion trip, and we went to Ghana, Africa. When we got there to the site, there was this little girl. She was 6 years old. I later found out her name was Vivian, and she would not let go of my hand. She followed me everywhere I went on that site. And later I got to meet her family. I met her mother and her siblings, and they all lived in this little mud hut. I mean, it wasn't big at all. And when I looked at Vivian, she had the biggest smile on her face, and she was just happy to be there, just happy to be with us. And it made such an impact in my life that I wanted to sponsor her right then and there. Because of my sponsorship for Vivian through Compassion, I'm able to write letters back and forth with her. I'm now getting updated photos, and now I think she's even taller than me, which is crazy to think. But I'm also able to see how my sponsorship is providing the food, clean water, and other support that she needs and her family needs to live the best life possible. And I can only imagine now with the pandemic, war, and weather disasters, there are so many other families like Vivian's who are dealing with hunger. So maybe you want to make an impact and sponsor your own Vivian. Just click the Compassion banner when you go to wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. If it's trending, streaming, or starring, Betty Rock's got it. On the Rock Report. Hey, Betty.
Sadly, there are many types of cancers and disease that destroy the bone marrow of sick patients. And sometimes the only way to survive it is to get a bone marrow transplant. It's kind of like a kidney transplant. You have to be a match. It can't just be anybody's bone marrow.
And I hear it's not too comfortable either.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've heard,
too.
too.
Both.
Yeah, that's why DC's Aquaman, a.k.a. Jason Momoa, took the time to make an appearance at a bone marrow registry drive put on by Be The Match in his home state of Hawaii to bring awareness for the need of bone marrow donors, where you come and simply get in line and they put a Q-tip in your mouth, swab your cheek, and you're done. And that's like to get to collect your DNA to see who you match with. Well, the 43-year-old actor showed up riding in on a classic Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Nice. Of course. I mean, the guy is cool as cool can get. He met with multiple children who were there in need of a transplant, like 6-year-old Ryder Lopez, who was diagnosed with a rare genetic disease and in need of a bone marrow transplant. And during the event, Mamoa got emotional after seeing so many people show up to get swabbed, so he took the time to thank them personally.
Even if it was my kids or your kids, like, it doesn't take much. Just gotta swab a cheek, man, and you can save some lives. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming, and I love you. Aloha.
They should have created a new superhero for him, like Marrow Man. And like he would have come in like his Marrow Man, like in a tight suit of some sort. I think that would be good. Or Jason Momoa, like it works too.
That was good.
I'm a marketing guy.
I know. I know it's not, I know it's cheesy, but so is being a superhero.
Right.
I think the point is that he brought awareness.
He did.
To this need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is only what Marrow Man could do.
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go. You're on
Yes,
now.
Betty.
It took her a minute, but she came around. Welcome, Rock. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and there are times that people do things in life that just kind of leave you scratching your head. Like, all right, who does that? And so then you're like, well, let's ask and see other people's opinion if that's normal or not. And normally we reserve this for judging other people, but today we're judging Betty Rock on this one because she went to a festival, and festival food is great, and you made the most of it.
I did. I wanted a funnel cake in those ribbon fries. You've seen them where they like take a potato and they just swirl it with a drill, and then they deep fry it. It's fantastic. That and a sweet tea. Those three things. That's all I wanted. Came to a whopping $45.
Insanity.
Whoa. Insanity. And they didn't tell us the price until after we ordered, which was clever of them, stupid of me. Anyways, I wasn't able to eat all of it. I couldn't eat all the funeral. All the funnel cake, and I couldn't
eat the funeral cake.
or
that's
the
what happens
fries.
if you would have eaten all of it.
So I decided that it just seemed like it was a shame to throw that into the trash. I mean, there was so much food left over, and it was a lot of money. So I just decided to start asking people that were passing by, "Hey, do you want this? Hey, do you want this?"
Weirdest thing ever.
And a lot of people said no, but I did find
a lot of people said
but
no.
I did find some takers.
No,
for
you
both
didn't.
of them.
No.
Yes, I did.
I am baffled by that. Like, because you're at a festival, and eating festival food is dodgy enough. Eating secondhand festival food?
Yes, but I think maybe people started hearing about the cost of if you wanted a funnel cake, it was going to cost you $20 or whatever. And they were like, well, secondhand funnel cake, that ain't too bad. It's just a little picked over.
Maybe like as a sample, okay, like I really like some of those potato things, but I don't want to spend all that money on them. Let me just try a little bite. Let me just take a little bite. If I like it, then I'll go get my own.
No.
But people were taking handfuls
they were like,
of this?
yeah, sure, we'll take it. Yeah, whole family shared the potatoes.
No.
Oh, it's like community food. food.
Yeah. See,
No, it's us taking care of one another.
I contend that Betty doing this has a far different outcome than Gavin or I doing this. Far different outcome. Like, if you're a cute girl at one of these things and you're like, hey, would you like some of my chips?
Oh, she's so sweet.
Yeah, she's cute. And it's like, hey, would you like some chips? I'm a creep. You know, like me and Gavin doing
probably
it.
Sneezed on him.
Right, yeah. Like, what are you trying to pull here, pal?
Maybe.
So,
I don't
okay.
know.
Whenever we get into these quandaries like this, we let you decide. I'm dumbfounded by this. So, 5 calls it. Would you eat festival food from a stranger? Or have you ever eaten food from a stranger that they gave you? Absolutely not.
Especially if you know the price and you're like, yeah,
I
sure.
can't think of a time. I racked my brain to think of a time I've done that. Other than, again, the Costco sampler. That doesn't count. Like, yes, it's a stranger. Yes, they're giving you food, but they have a hairnet. So that doesn't count, okay? So 855-33-WAY-FM. Have you ever eaten food from a stranger at an event? We'll take yours now. 5 calls it. We'll see if Betty's weird or not. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. Jamie, thank you for joining us for 5 calls it. When we don't understand something, we tend to turn to you to find out if it's weird or not. So Betty Rock went to a festival, spent a lot of money on food, and instead of throwing away what she couldn't eat, she did something unthinkable.
Gave it to the complete strangers that walked past me on the street. Why not?
Bizarre. So, Karen, have you ever or would you ever eat food from a stranger at like a festival or even a restaurant?
I would eat it from Betty, yes. But it really depended if the person's hands were clean and their appearance.
Ah, okay. And I can see that. I mean, Betty's a cute girl, so she's going to look presentable.
Jamie, let me give you a hypothetical situation. Let's say that a man approaches you. He's in a flowered shirt. He has pirate earrings in, okay? And he's around 54-ish, about 5'6" tall, wears glasses, spiky hair when he really should just shave it.
It feels like you're describing Brad Pitt.
And he comes to you and he's like, hey, would you like some of my spiral fries? Would you take it?
I would use my discernment if he had family members with him. I might, but by himself, I probably want it.
Boy, Jamie's hungry. Like there's no way I'm taking food from a stranger. Well, girl, I appreciate you being on with us. Thank you.
Thank y'all. I love you guys.
All right, Sean, you're up. Would you ever eat food from a stranger at a festival like Betty Rock offered people her chips?
Absolutely not. No way.
Yeah, I don't understand this at all. I don't understand a person that thinks, oh, these random people will eat chips from me. I'm like, I look normal enough.
It felt wrong to throw them away. Would you rather I just throw away cash in a trash can?
Yeah. All right, Lisa, welcome to the cavalcade of weirdness as we're trying to find out if it's weird for Betty Rock to have offered random strangers her food that she was not going to finish at a festival. Would you do this? Would you take the food?
No, absolutely not.
But it's halfway eaten. It's not like all the way eaten, and it's a funnel
now you're
cake.
selling it. It's half-eaten food.
But it's a funnel cake.
I would say, no.
No.
All right, Karen, you're up. Final call for 5 calls it. Would you ever eat food from a random stranger at, say, a festival like Betty was offering people hers?
No. However, my son-in-law has done this, and it is grossed us all out. He went into a restroom, and there was a full drink at a festival. Very expensive. Someone left it sitting. He picked it up, came back out of the restroom with the drink.
Oh,
so,
no.
Betty Rock, you're not the weirdest person.
I'm assuming it wasn't lemonade because there's no way you're taking that risk.
You're correct.
Come on, let's go. I'm diving in. I'm going deep in all my head.
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. That's a little Stephen Curtis Chapman for you from back in the day. He is definitely an icon in Christian music. He's been around forever. And so it was really cool recently when I saw him do an I Am Second video. And if you don't know what these are, it's people that are, talking about their faith and how it shaped them. And a lot of times it's different artists or celebrities or sometimes sports heroes and things like that, maybe people you wouldn't even expect to be believers, and they share their story. And so Stephen did one, and he got real vulnerable, and he even goes back to his childhood with a change that took place in his father that ultimately changed the course of his family.
When I was 7 years old, something happened in my home that really began to change. And when fights would break out and conflict, my dad would stop and he'd say, wait a minute, we need to pray. And I remember as a little boy hearing my dad pray prayers like, God, I don't know how to be a good father or a good husband because I didn't have a dad in my life. But you're my father now, and will you please teach me how to do that? And so I got to see the change that Jesus would make in a heart and in a life in my own dad and my mom and my whole family. It didn't fix everything. We were still a mess, but there was this hope.
And that's one of the cool things about the I Am Second videos is you might think you know someone's story. You know, you've heard music from Stephen for years, but you don't always know the inner workings of some of it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that part of his life at all. Never heard of it.
Yeah, because they make you very vulnerable. You sit down in this white chair and they just ask you about 3 questions and you talk about yourself for about 4 hours. You know, it's crazy. But there's something about that where it just kind of comes out and he shares his story. And, you know, he talked about, too, you know, what it's like now after losing his daughter, Maria, all those years ago, and kind of what his family went through then and where he's at now.
An accident at our home took her life. And I spent 14 years of a journey with my family of grief and questions and confusion and anger and, God, are we going to survive this? How are we going to survive this? I have wrestled and had to say, okay, God, I don't get this. And yet in all of this journey, the more I understand about who God is, the more I learn, is that he says, bring all of it to me. I already know it anyway. I'm God. I already know you're angry. I already know you're confused. I already know all of that. Will you just come to me? And will you trust me? And he's not going to waste any part of our story. God is still good. He's still faithful. And he still can be trusted. My name is Stephen Curtis Chapman, and I am second.
When you hear somebody that's lost a child and you can hear them still say God is good, that's carries weight. And that's why these videos, I think, matter, because people go through similar circumstances and sometimes it causes them to lose their faith, run from God, especially when you lose a child. It ends up breaking up marriages many times. And to hear that was his fear, that they wouldn't survive that, you don't expect that from Stephen Curtis Chapman, but he's a human, you know, and he's just like everybody else. And so when he shares his story in that way, I think it's good. But then I also love that there's hope in that. You know, where he's like, you know, at the end of the day, God is still good and I still have hope. So if you want to see that, we got it for you at wayfm.com. You can just search it that way or wayfm.com/Wally and you can find it.
The more you know.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Wally Show. I'd like to help you out if you're that person. And I'm curious, Betty or Gavin, are you the person that you're outside and you tend to be the one that is a mosquito magnet, like you get bit by every mosquito within a 5-mile radius?
When I take my dogs out in the backyard, especially in like the hotter months of the year, like I always come in with minimum 5 bug bites.
Okay, so you get bit. Betty Rock, because you're so sweet, does that happen to you?
I don't. But thank you for that compliment.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
I'm kind of surprised, actually.
Yeah, they don't bother me.
My wife, like, we'll walk out somewhere and, like, we could be outside in the summer for about a second after we've walked out. Ow! I'm like, what happened? I got bit by a bug. Like, there's no bugs here. I got bit by a bug. No, they're everywhere. Like, so she gets bit all the time. Well, science has figured out why that happens.
Oh.
Yeah, so this might help you out. So if you're that mosquito magnet, they are actually attracted to a specific acid in the oil in your skin. And some people make more of that acid than other people do.
Oh,
so
you're
you go.
acidic.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's called
It makes sense. You have-
carboxylic acid.
Well, he has acid reflux.
Oh, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
I hope you're giving the poor mosquitoes acid reflux. Like, they bite you and they get it. They're like, "Bleh."
That's their last breath.
Yeah, so apparently it's the acid in our skin that keeps our skin moisturized. Is his skin moisturized? Is it soft? Is it supple?
I'm never like dry.
Let me feel you.
Please don't. Get out of here.
So it's like moisturized and protected, and some people, produce more of it. Now, here's the good news: is they looked at like changing your diet or showering more, and it makes absolutely no difference.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you can't change it whatsoever. Your body's just gonna make more of this, so wear sleeves. It's basically the thing.
Stinks to be you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but at least now you know. It is because, your body, you haven't done anything wrong. It's just your body's working against you.
And I can't fix anything.
No, you can't do anything about it. Just, again, wear sleeves. You'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Man up.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes, as well as connect with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Just search Wally Show. And be sure to join our exclusive Potty Facebook group. You can find the link in the description of this podcast. And thanks to Colorado Christian University Online and United Faith Mortgage for supporting what we do.